let's dive in, guys. Mel Kiper Jr. put out his latest mock draft yesterday. One of the biggest headlines is he has Shedeur Sanders falling from originally number 3 to the Giants, now to 9 with the Saints. Now, it's worth to take note, Kiper's 3.0 mock draft was before the Giants signed both Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, so obviously a lot of factors have changed there. All right, Dog, I'm coming to you on this. Do you think Shedeur Sanders is worthy of a top 10 pick?
Well, I'll start this way, and then I'm going to have Lewis fight me off. I don't think the Browns or Giants are going to take him, because I think the Browns will take either Hunter or Carter, and I think the Giants will take the other one. So I don't think either one of them are going to take him. Now, those are two great prospects, and if the quarterback is not quite on that level, you probably can't take him. The problem is you need the quarterback. But I think the quarterback, if he's great, you take him no matter what. I don't think the Giants or Cleveland feels that Sanders is, quote unquote, one of those quarterbacks that can lead you to a championship. Obviously, we know that the Washington quarterback, he's great. Won a Heisman Trophy. Williams, USC, won a Heisman Trophy. Yeah. I spoke to a couple people. You're the expert. Don't like the sidearm motion of Sanders throwing a football. What did he take, 98 sacks? Took 98 sacks.
Some of that's on him, but his O-line wasn't great either.
You take 98 sacks, you got to take some of the responsibility.
It was terrible. Offensive line was terrible.
I bet. I mean, that game in Oregon a couple years ago, he got this. Listen, and I know he's cocky and he's brash and he thinks he's going to be great, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I myself am not going to draft a quarterback unless I feel that he is going to win 3-4 games for me in the big spot. And so if I was making a choice, would not.
I feel so triggered by cocky and brash.
Oh,
You're triggering me, dog.
I'm triggered.
You're triggering me. Okay, why do you say he's cocky? Okay, look.
Well, we read the comments there. Hey, these teams are going to regret not taking me.
Cam Ward said the same thing.
Well,
you know what? And I love Cam Ward, and I love Shedeur. Look, I could not care less about what he says about teams regretting passing on him. I could not care less. As a matter of fact, if he feels that way, say it. You can back it up, say whatever you want. His father used to be the same way. His father used to be the same way. Do you remember what Deion's famous phrase was when Atlanta drafted him? I believe it was after Atlanta drafted him, or was it before he drafted him?
When you look good, you feel good?
No, he said, I'm going to ask for so much money, they're going to have to put me on layaway.
I remember that. Yes,
remember? And he backed it up his entire career.
Oh, he's great.
He is a chip off the old block. Shedeur is absolutely 100% self-confident, self-assured, believes in his training, believes in what he's already accomplished, has already said, look, I have proof that when I go into different programs, myself, along with the rest of my team, along with my father, along with our overall program, can turn things around. And I have been a big part of that, being the quarterback. I have been a big part of that. I feel as though I can duplicate those kinds of things at the NFL level, provided I'm given the right kind of structure and the right kind of support. Right. And he is someone who, if you talk to everyone out there in Colorado, they will tell you this. When you talk to his father, you talk to Pat Sherman, the offensive coordinator, Shedeur is someone who wants to be collaborative. He is someone that you want to talk with. He doesn't like to be told just, this is the way we're going to do things, and then you're just going to need to fall in line.
Swagu in here.
And he kind of has, he's earned that right because of the way he has played. This young man is going to be just fine. And you know what? I hope he doesn't go in the top 3 picks. I hope he doesn't. And I think his camp would tell you the same thing. There are other teams that they want to go to.
You could be in a better situation, obviously, if you fall. And we know how much that matters for a player's trajectory. Where are you on this, Marcus? Is he worthy of a top 10 pick, and do you like him going there?
Absolutely worthy of a top 10 pick. I love the projection to the Saints. Here's the thing, too. Lewis just heard me on Get Up give this, because I get pissed off about this. And we in the stadiums, Lou and I are in these stadiums. Mad Dog has covered this game long enough. And Molly, you know this as well, too. Every damn quarterback in the NFL cocky and brash. Every last one of them. Some of them don't say it publicly. Some of them tell me privately when I'm standing on the field with them before they about to play a Monday night football game. You don't think that that's a trait of all these great quarterbacks? You have not been paying attention to the NFL forever when it comes to these guys in this particular position. I'll tell you from a defensive perspective, if he ain't like that, I'm worried. If he doesn't have this type of energy coming into the league, coming into college, I'm worried about him when it comes to that. Here's the thing, though, about the NFL, and it's just like I said about Baker Mayfield years ago. If you're going to come in with this type of energy, you better back it up. You better play to that level. That's the only, because the criticism will come if you don't perform at that level. But a top 10 pick, what are we talking about? He went to Jackson State, transformed the program, went to Colorado. Y'all, we didn't have Colorado on a ticker. I've been here 12 years. We didn't have their name on a ticker while I was here until Prime and Shedeur and Travis Hunter showed up, and they won some games and did some meaningful things while they were there and reinvigorated a program that nobody talked about. Yeah, Prime was the head coach and he brought a lot of attention, but there had to be some substance, and the substance was the players on the field. And you know who had more to do with that than anybody? Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, who will be top 10 picks in this NFL draft when we get to Green Bay. Here's the other thing, too. You don't have to pay these guys $60 million anymore, Mad Dog, before they take a snap. You don't have, like, taking a flyer on a guy that could potentially turn out to be a franchise guy is a smart decision. If he gets taken ninth to the Saints and he doesn't pan out, we ain't gonna do nothing but rerun it and be like, who are the Saints gonna take in the draft in 2 to 3 years? This is a great opportunity for the New Orleans Saints, and Shedeur should be a top 10.
No. You don't want that to be the mindset. The mindset's got to be, can you win a championship with Shedeur Sanders? And to that, do you say yes?
You absolutely
don't know that.
Look, it's no different. Look, but what I'm saying is, I guess what she's asking, though, Swag, is this: is do you feel that he has the requisite mental makeup, personal football character, and then physical skills to do so? He has all of that. He has all that. See, what we wind up doing, and see, it's interesting that you said someone said that they don't like his three-quarter sidearm.
That's what I've heard.
Shedeur Sanders is very much so a classic over-the-top releaser. He's not this is what bothers me sometimes too about the whole evaluation process. I'd be like, have you been watching the game? Have you watched Patrick Mahomes throw a football?
No.
Have you seen the way he throws the ball? Patrick is three-quarter sidearm almost all the time. These guys play. Patrick has said, to me, it's kind of like being a shortstop throwing the ball to first base. That's how I play the game. Have you watched Aaron Rodgers throw the football? He throws the football. Have you watched Josh Allen throw the football? Shedeur, as a matter of fact, is much more classic over the top than three-quarter sidearm.
Can they win a championship with Shedeur?
He can win it. He can do it.
Well, let me ask you a question.
He can do it.
If he's this good, then why are the Browns and Giants probably not going to take him?
Well, look, it's a lot of this. It's subjective, Mad Dog. Look, it is. We could have 5 different people look at a guy, and some people will say that's a top 2 pick, that's a top 3 pick, that guy shouldn't go in the first round. Look, we do it with quarterbacks all the time. We do it. There were people saying that Lamar Jackson shouldn't even play quarterback. Yeah. And then there were people like the Baltimore Ravens who said, you know what, not only is he going to play quarterback, we're going to construct our whole program around him.
Swagu,
and now he's become a 3-time
get
MVP.
in here, but we got to be quick because I got to get to Vegas. I got a lot of questions about what the Raiders are doing too.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Like, there's examples of the draft where you have success, you don't have success. We thought Josh Rosen years ago was a can't-miss product at the quarterback position. He ain't played 1 hour in the NFL. They had quarterbacks taken before Patrick Mahomes. One by the name of Mitchell Trubisky. How did that turn out? This is not an exact science. You take traits, you take what these guys did in college, and you hope it works out. And there is nothing about Shedeur's college career that tells you you shouldn't draft him and think you have an opportunity to win games and championships with what he's been able to do. If it doesn't happen, he'll be like the other 99% of them that teams draft.
Okay, we got to leave it there. I got a quick take for you guys. So Vegas's newly paid quarterback, Geno Smith, spoke for the first time earlier this week and said him and Raiders' new head coach, Pete Carroll, who spent time together in Seattle, have, quote, unfinished business. Dog, how high are you on the Raiders next season?
In that division and in that AFC, if they go 10-7, they had a hell of a year. All right, you have Buffalo, you have the 3 teams in the AFC North. I'll leave the Browns out. Houston is good, and then you have San Diego who made the playoffs, Denver who made the playoffs, and obviously the Chiefs are the best team in the conference. So the idea that the Raiders now, and Geno...
Do you like this move of bringing in Geno and Pete Carroll back together? I understand why they did it, because he's competent.
Yeah. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league? No, I do not. Can you win with him? You can be respectable with him. Can you win postseason games and get to a Super Bowl with him? I would say no.
Look, I like what they're doing, but look, they have a long road to climb. And just as Doggie's just laying out, look, their own division is right now is a gauntlet. The AFC is a gauntlet. They don't have any receivers. They got to continue to fortify this offensive line. They better go ahead and draft Ashton Genty in order to give Geno some help. And you better continue to build out this defense and give Max some help. And they have a new coaching staff that now needs to get together Look, obviously, Patrick Graham's still on the defensive side, but Chip Kelly, that is, the new offensive coordinator, is going to have to get with Pete and make sure that they are on the same page, too, as far as how they're bringing together this offense. There's a lot of work to be done in Las Vegas before you start getting too excited about what are their prospects in the AFC.
Yeah, and Mel was on yesterday. He had them go running back in the draft.
Everybody says the Boise State.
Yeah, which is interesting as well. Mel Kiper Jr. released his latest mock draft. He has the Giants passing up drafting a quarterback in the first round. Instead, he sees New York grabbing Abdul Carter with the 3rd pick and then taking Jalen Milroe, the quarterback from Alabama, in the 2nd round. Our own Dan Orlovsky is completely on board with this plan. Danny Boy.
If I could handpick one team for Jalen Milroe, it would be the New York Giants in the 2nd round. This would be the ideal situation. If you got Jalen Milroe, you can go full Lamar Jackson rookie mode, where here comes 15 times a game. Because this young man, while he's improving as a passer, is an absolute rocket ship with the ball in his hands. This would be the perfect place for both the player and the organization.
Danny.
You don't like this
Oh,
pick?
he's a turnover machine. I wouldn't go near him. Did anybody see the Tennessee game last year up in Knoxville when he 9,000 interceptions? Or how about the time in Vanderbilt when they couldn't win? Or how about the championship game against the semifinals at the Rose Bowl against Michigan when he ran the sneak instead of got out of the play, which cost him a chance to tie Michigan in the Rose Bowl? He killed Alabama. Listen, I understand he's got a big arm and he can be dynamic. I don't think this works. I would not. You want to take him in the 5th, 6th round, take a chance? I can't use a 2nd-round pick on him. That's a move I would never make. And I've seen it. We've all seen Alabama play a million games. He is too risky with turning the ball over, Lewis, to me. I wouldn't take him.
So you're saying you wouldn't take him in the 1st, you wouldn't take him in the 2nd?
No, I would, because they got a high 2nd-round pick.
Okay, well, look, this is kind of layered for me. I'm going to put it like this as far as the Giants are concerned. All right? So Jalen Milroe needs consistency and needs structure. And that structure is going to provide the consistency, right? So he needs to go to a place where GM, head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach have a long runway and have displayed a high level of competency to bring him along. Because he's already shown you enough flashes as a thrower that his very best is as good as anybody in this draft. It's just a matter of consistency. It's a matter of him getting comfortable, repeatable mechanics, so he can put the ball where he needs to all the time. Because if you look at the Georgia game this past year, you'd say he's as good as any quarterback in the country. You look at certain throws against Oklahoma, you go, he's as good as any quarterback in the country. You look at other throws, you go, he's as boneheaded as any quarterback in the country. So he needs time and consistency to develop. All right? So if you're John Mara right now, and you're the New York Giants in particular, see, Dan's looking at this as just a single, like a little snapshot of going, Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, Giants, we can put him in there, run some Lamar stuff, and of course he'd give him a big juice up. Well, that's cool for right now, maybe in certain spurts. But look, Russell Wilson's going to be the starter there. Jameis Winston is going to be the backup there. He isn't going to play in New York. And those two guys ain't taking New York anywhere in that division and in the NFC overall. And if I'm John Mara, look, I've already said in the past, we did everything we could to screw up Daniel Jones. And you know what that was? It was constant turnover and change and incompetence. And I'm not saying Brian Daboll's incompetent or Mike Kafka. I love them both. But we don't even know if they're going to be there. We don't know if Joe Shane's going to be there. So to me, if I'm John Mara, he's the only one who knows what success looks like for this football team and therefore whether or not Jalen Milroe fits this organization. Because if I'm him, I'm not doing to another quarterback what I did to Daniel Jones. And if I'm likely to blow these two guys out of here, I'm not picking the guy. And that's why I don't know if he fits New York. Only John Mara can tell you that.
Marcus, that's a lot to unpack right there.
I like that. I agree with the first part, what you said, Lou. I think Dan is looking at it from the prism of what we've seen Daboll do with quarterbacks before. And I agree with him with that sentiment when you start talking about in that particular situation with veteran quarterbacks in the building already, knowing a guy is not immediately ready to play, but a guy that we've seen help quarterbacks play better than what people thought they could. Yep. He was the reason Josh Allen turned into this Josh Allen that we know. Now the turnovers have went away and Josh Allen has taken it to another level. He was also a part of Daniel Jones fooling the hell out of all of us thinking that he should get $100 million for a short, extended period of time with the New York Giants. A lot of that had to do with there was nowhere else to go. But instead of doing that, you probably should have went after Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston a couple of years ago and just ripped that Band-Aid off and started it. I don't mind Milroe being projected 34th. One, and y'all know my sentiment about not having to pay these guys a ton of money. But Lou, on the other side, I do agree with you with that with Mara. If this coaching staff is not going to be in place, if this is the year where you make a determination, if you need to go a completely different direction with your general manager and your head coach, this is not the draft pick to take. You take a guy that is going to fit any situation. And usually that's guys that play premium positions on the lines of scrimmage, or you take a cornerback or somebody that can play in any system. With that being said, though, Joe Shane, your time is ticking anyway. And I have been waiting to say this for a year. Saquon Barkley went to Philly and led that team to a Super Bowl. You had a decision to make about what this team would be and what they would do identity-wise for the New York Giants. You decided to go another direction. And I know you didn't do that without the ownership having to at least be on board somewhat, even though we heard what the owner said about if he saw Saquon Barkley go to Philly and have a tremendous amount of success. So whether or not they have a good season, Joe Shane will be gone based on a bad season. I'm not sure about Brian Daboll. I think there's a little bit more confident in the head coach than it is in the general manager.
Let me say one thing about Barkley, since Swagu brought it up. I don't know any Giant fan who regrets may not like the fact they went to Philly. Every Giant fan that I know understands why they did that. They were 6-11 the year before that with Barkley. It's like having a great closer. If you have the great running back, you'd have a good team ready to win. The Giants weren't ready to win. So I don't have any problem at all. And most Giant fans don't either. Don't like the fact they went to the Eagles because it's a rivalry. But they weren't going to win with Barkley anyway because they weren't ready to win the games. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the only thing I say to that, though, is, when are they going to be ready to win games?
Well, they weren't ready to win last year. You knew that. The quarterback was a mess.
But still, you know, you're not ever going to be able to win games if you keep getting rid of good players.
And he's
what they do the year before, though.
He wanted to come back there. He would have probably taken a lesser contract to come back.
His career there. He wanted to finish his career.
No, you know what? See, I'm not with that. I'm not with that.
No way.
You can't just continually get rid of good players and then go, well, we're not ready to win now. Well, no kidding, you're not.
But they were not going to win with him anyway. They didn't win the year before when he had a big year.
Well, you know what?
What about having someone to watch? A star on the team.
Well, I mean, what do you do? You just get rid of every good player that you have?
It's a running back.
If you're not ready,
but beyond that, don't you have to have good players in order to start?
All right, one at a time. Go ahead. What's Swagu?
Go ahead, Swagu.
Like, you got to have good players to start the trajectory of winning. And we all knew that Saquon Barkley was a really good player. Like, I've never understood this subtraction to get better unless a guy is old. That's the only reason that I would have said get rid of Saquon Barkley. Look, we could talk about that for years. Saquon Barkley should have been a Giant.
No, you know what it is, Swag? This is what happens. And this is what happens a lot. We always think the conversation always becomes, well, if we get rid of this guy and we free up this much cap space, or we trade this guy and we get this many draft picks, we're automatically going to nail every other transaction that we do now. Yeah. We're just going to nail it, because what we'll do is, now that we have all this cap space and all these, it's going to just work out for us.
We got to leave it there.
It's not an automatic thing.
Right.
You can't assume that.
We can debate whether they should have hung on to Saquon or not, but we cannot debate how they handled it. And how they handled it publicly on Hard Knocks. I have to go to break.
That was the NFL's fault, making them do this stupid Hard Knocks.
It was Joe Shane's fault.
It was Joe Shane's fault for how he handled it. Oh, go take a spin around the block. Then maybe I'll talk to you. It was beyond disrespectful. It
was $28 million. What's so disrespectful about that? They offered him $22 million. Guaranteed money. That's not disrespectful. $22 million guaranteed. You want it or not? Well, I want more.
Happy.
And he got more. I don't blame him.
Yeah, y'all happy y'all kept the quarterback. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I understand.
Daniel Jones was the answer.
How'd betting on Daniel Jones work out?